and live and completely manic. Anyways, this is Welcome to Die Gaming. Thought I'd make a video because now everything's on the table. And I'm doing this live because I don't have time to edit stuff. Plus, I'm manic as hell. PS5 drop, $399, $499. It's kind of in the middle of what everybody was expecting. But there's more information that came out after. For some strange reason, Sony's like, okay, well, here's all this. We're not going to tell you how to get it, but we will. But we're trying to weed out, I don't know, riots. I have no idea. Probably should have said that on YouTube. Anyways, so in case you're unaware and you haven't seen this video, pre-orders start tomorrow for the console. Xbox hasn't announced shit, let alone shown absolutely anything. Why would you buy any one of those? I get the Series S because it's for kids that play Fortnite and they just want to be caught up on stuff. Anyways, yeah, obviously Fortnite will be on PS5 at launch, along with a whole bunch of other stuff that's basically going to be free. It was also announced during the conference that you get like 10 games that are PS5 enhanced if you're part of PlayStation Plus. That's huge. On top of the back catalog you would have, I still can't wait to play Ghost of Tsushima on PS5. I don't know if they're going to patch that, but remember, all games that came out after July had to be made so they could play. So hopefully, just out of the box, we're going to see enhancements on that. I'm beyond manic. The biggest thing was I was afraid Sony was going to do this. So we're going to get the price, and all of a sudden they're going to be like, hey, here you go. And that's exactly what they did, but not directly because they told a whole bunch of people over here that weren't watching the conference, here you go. NVIDIA is releasing the biggest generational leap in video card tomorrow with a 3080. And that's going to be a rush. There are no pre-orders for that. It's a bloodbath at 9 a.m. Eastern to go on to online retailers and either get the Founders Edition directly from NVIDIA or, EVGA, Asus, Gigabyte, those. It's been my plans for 2 weeks. Fuck around, right? But then we get this. So, a little bit more news here. Not only the pre-orders start tomorrow, I've confirmed with GameStop that when they open at noon, they're live. I've seen reports that GameStop Ireland, I saw a post already, that theirs were live and it was sold out in 5 minutes. Now, there's probably only like 3 GameStops in Ireland altogether, but still. It's going to be a mad rush. Bigger thing here is if you can't make it to a GameStop, maybe you can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Or if you're on the West Coast, maybe you can just do it before you go to bed. But online retailers, and I've got another source somebody had mentioned from Best Buy that online, 3 a.m. Eastern, you can pre-order. Now, there's a workaround if you plan on getting that RTX card, ray tracing, which ray tracing on Call of Duty and a lot of the other stuff we saw during that conference was great. But the workaround, the plan I have is to still try and get that card at 9 o'clock in the morning, at least from Best Buy. And GameStop, for the pre-orders, they've always allowed deposits. Now, I haven't gotten a confirmation on the amount. Normally in the past, it's only been $100. Put $100 down to get it. So, if you can go wait in line for an hour or two at a GameStop, a lot of them are still kind of downplaying and playing dumb. They're like, we don't know what's going on. We'll just be here when you open. Or, it's all out now. Like, when I first started calling after hearing reports after Jeff Keighley had posted stuff, I called a couple, and only one of them just straight up answered the phone. It's like, hey, yeah. Part of their introduction was, hey, be here at noon. It's like, all right, thanks. But then I have more questions like the deposit. So it is still possible for me to get this card, one of these RTX cards, for about $600 or $700, and have my name on a PS5 at launch. Now, if you do it online, there's no telling what's going to happen. I do remember I pre-ordered a Switch from Target when those went live, and Target at the same place I got my PS4. Basically everybody else was sold out, but nobody ever thinks of Target when it comes to games. They still had some left. Target went back about a month later and just reined up my account for the whole amount, so I had to cancel it. I don't trust doing online pre-orders because to me you're not guaranteed it, and you also don't get everything at midnight. Not midnight. Yeah, you won't get your stuff at midnight the night it comes out. A friend of mine, he's all about getting it at midnight. Anything. I got my PS4 the next morning, but I work third shift. So and I got my PS1 at 9 o'clock in the morning when they open, just like I'm going to try and get my video card at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, too. No, there's a lot to, like, there's so much to open with Final Fantasy 16, the PlayStation 5 exclusive, but, also on PC. And that's one thing, too. It's like, well, if I get this card and all all what Sony's mentioning is true that, we're going to be getting a lot more exclusives over on PC. Is it even worth it for me to get this? Certainly not worth it for me to get a fail box, correct box, whatever you want to call it. Just nothing. Absolute garbage. They still haven't shown anything. Sony just has to play the card right. It's like, okay, we don't have to come up with this bogus PR. We don't have to do shit. Here's our stuff. Now, the launch titles, another thing they got, this all comes in one thing. Another thing they got kind of swept under the rug, too, is they did confirm that Sony first-party studio titles will range from $50 to $70. One of those $70 games was a game that looked cool in the initial showcase, the Destruction game, the car battle game. $70. I really don't know if I can justify that. There's an Ultimate Edition of Spider-Man, which I'm assuming comes with the PS4 version for some reason, which the game is going to be available on PS4, which, yeah, still look good. I still haven't played the first one. I've got the first one. I still haven't played it. But, yeah, you got Spider-Man. They'll be 50 or 70 for the Ultimate, and then that Destruction game is 70. On top of it, you got the sports titles, and then Call of Duty. I'm like, man, I'm really enjoying Modern Warfare. Like, it's the best one, basically hands down. It's a reboot. But after seeing that game, I don't even play single player, but just to experience the tech, even though hopefully, the world can be completely different in 24 hours. I could have either both the card and the PS5, or I could have nothing and then, just pay my rent and live life, the boring life that's been going on for the past 8 months. Anyways, let's look at the right side of things because I'm like, I really don't want to sleep. I just want to fast forward because I can't have this just kind of sit with me all fucking night, But it's, Resident Evil 8 was kind of I had some initial hype for it, us being the horror, the horror fans that we are on this page. It's kind of Final Fantasy 16, I was expecting a little more on the visuals, honestly, because 7 looked so perfect. But I guess you could take that, clean it up some, and it's running at least 60, if not 120. You got to think about that too. I wanted to make a video on this was these people that are talking about getting 120 frames. It's like, man, if you got a basic old 1080p TV or a 4K TV that only does 60, you're going to buy a new TV if you want the variable refresh rates, if you want the 120 hertz. And if you're wondering, is the LG C9, LG CX, or the Vizio Quantum kind of the top 3 right now. That's just kind of what you have to roll with. And the Vizio is the cheaper out of them. I'm waiting for Black Friday on that, as this year has proven that it breaks everybody. You lose a job or, whatever. But, I've been fortunate to not. And, knock on wood, I get fired tomorrow and everything thrown out the window. But, it's just a lot of divvying around funds. But all this investment, out of the 3 consoles, Nintendo doesn't count, Stadia doesn't count. PC is going to be the biggest generation, or biggest leap for next generation. Like Cyberpunk 2077 is not like Skyrim was when it came out. It's a game that you go all in for and upgrade your shit. I mean, that's it. I don't. It's good. I'm sure it'll look fine on the next gen consoles. Don't bother picking up that game for PS4 or Xbox One. It's going to be pointless. But to see what that can do with the ultimate ray tracing of the 3080, 3090, or 3070, whatever you go with, and that performance, it's insane. As of today, I knew going in today it was a big day. It was one day before the cards came out. But PS5 going, hey, here's pre-orders. Here's our 5 games. What was the other one? Oh, Demon Souls is launch. And Astrobot's launch, but you get that too. It's free. And also, there's one last one. I forget, whatever. Sony really only has 5 games. Ratchet & Clank is not one of them. They did show off God of War Ragnarok, which somebody brought up that might not actually be truly God of War 2. I think a lot of this stuff we're seeing right now, especially with Spider-Man, it's kind of, and it goes true for every console generation, is tech demos. Spider-Man might not be that long, but it's going to be a good enough experience, but it shows off the system's capable. I think Ragnarok might end up being that too. Not a full experience, not a true sequel, but rather just straight up tech demo. So that's all right, especially if you're paying less than $60 for it. So I don't know. One last thing, they also quietly announced the prices of accessories. The DualSense controller is $70, which many should expect that. People complain about the price of that, and you got the Xbox Elite controllers for like $150. I've got the Astro C40, no product placement, but just showing an example. It's a $200 controller. And it helps on Call of Duty. Anyways, the DualShocks, they ended up being $64 here towards the end. You might have had to buy a controller for a while, but they were throwing out new colors all the damn time before. So now, I mean, you're losing $5 for a lot of good tech. And, we'll just see what happens with that. Charging station's $30. Allows you to hold 2. The HD camera, which is dual lens 1080p. It's kind of sad they didn't throw a 4K in there because it can't be that much money now to have that camera in there. But they threw that in. That is, I believe, $60. The headset, the Pulse 3D wireless headset's $100. I'm afraid, because they really haven't gone, I mean, it's been kind of basic what that's got. They really haven't gone into what that does that your current ones, like if you got a good HyperX or a good Logitech or Razer, that you paid a lot of money for, is that it might be compatible, but is there something that 3D Pulse is going to do that these really expensive ones don't do? Or if you got the Astro, the expensive one, any of the Astro stuff, is there something that's going to do that those don't? Or is that just exclusively an upgrade over like the Platinum headset and the Gold headset? We'll have to see when that launches. That was all. What was that one? Controller, headset, camera. Oh, the media remote was $30. Media remote, it seems like every console gets one. Some people get it, and then they eventually just kind of take it away. I remember the Xbox 360 media remote was like that big. The PS3 one was like that big, small. And I think Xbox came out with a smaller one for the 360, but Xbox One doesn't have one. I think the PS4 did have one. This one's smaller, but to me, it's really, here's an accessory, and we're going to put Netflix, YouTube stickers on there like this has. That saves money on the console and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can honestly say none of those accessories are pointless. As far as I know, I think the PS4 camera works on there. Because, I mean, the PSVR does. So, anyways, yeah. So, to summarize, pre-orders are either 3 a.m. online or they are at when GameStop opens. The person that confirmed about Best Buy, the people they talked to, the couple stores, confirmed that there's no pre-orders in store. So basically, the only place you're going to go to get something, I'm sure Walmart might do it. That could technically be at midnight since their stuff changes. You might, but Walmart's closed because of Rona at 8:30. So gone are the days of walking into Walmart at night. So whenever Walmart opens, you might be able to walk in and pre-order one. But as far as I know, the only in-person right now is GameStop. The online retailers I saw were Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop. Walmart was one of them for the online. There was another one, but it wasn't Target. So might get fortunate again going with Target because the last 2 consoles I pre-ordered, even though I canceled one, was through Target. So give Target a try if you're out of luck. 3 a.m. Eastern, 5 pre-order games, or not 5 pre-order games, 5 games from Sony directly at launch, not including games like Borderlands 3 to get a free upgrade and all the free upgrades. And then, yeah, that's all I got. Anyways, we'll get back to doing the real show. I think what I'm planning on doing in October is doing a horror game per day. For any of you that are on here that wonder how Rob is doing, so am I. He hasn't moved. He just sits at home. That's it. And maybe one day we'll all get back on here and do something. Joel also is fine, but filming just hasn't really been a priority. But I feel like this is a priority, but obviously not much stock on it. I've never gone live on YouTube before just to do this. And yeah, so tomorrow, 24 hours from now, is going to either be really awesome or really bad. And even if it's awesome, it's still bad because I'm going to be broke. All right. Deuces.